Hello, Anna, Sunny. Welcome to the AI Delusion in Startups, which is the fifth in our founder conversation series. This is all about the dangers of relying on AI instead of hiring specialists. We'll be talking anecdotes and the cold, hard truths about wanting to replace staff with AI. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and we'll answer them along the way. In the meantime, I'm Annique and I'm a marketing hire and onboarding specialist. I help founders hire the right marketer for their business and create the environment for success so they can drive real business growth. And with me is Anthony.
Good morning. Nice to see you all. I'm Anthony and I run an HR consultancy and we help businesses get everything people-wise right in their businesses to build success. And what a good topic to be doing on a hot Thursday morning. AI. It's we were just chatting before that it comes up pretty much every day in some sort of conversation.
Yep.
And today is all about why people are turning to AI and automation and whether it's the right solution or not and what they need to be looking out for. So I guess starting point is things along the lines of what founders are expecting and hoping that AI will solve within their businesses, why they're all turning to it as I guess the magic potion that will solve all their ills. And there are lots and lots of examples of this happening at the moment, but it's definitely you can almost see this sort of Wild West run to anything AI is going to fix my problems. And it's an interesting conundrum and an interesting challenge for anyone in a founding situation as to just taking a step back maybe and having a think before they do that to maybe avoid some of the risks or at least make themselves aware of some of the risks that can go along with that sort of headlong dash into something like this. So what do you think? I mean, Annique, what are your thoughts on why people are heading into AI so quickly and why they think it's the solution to all their problems?
I think one of the appeals about AI within founders is that you're a founder of a startup, you've got budgets are tight, you've not got a huge amount to spend on everything that you need to do. So it's really easy to think that, okay, we'll just use AI for that and we'll save money. And I think that is one of the lovely shiny appeals to it. And it's kind of with AI, and I see it a lot, it's seen within many as something that can replace people, when actually kind of it's not. AI is a tool. It's like a drill, a screwdriver, anything that plumbers use, an English spanner, and you need the experience behind it to be able to use it properly. But the appeal is that it could save money.
Yeah, very much. And that piece around people, I think, is very important as well, in the fact that it's definitely seen as a cost-saving option for founders. It's clearly, you buy it, you pay a fee. If you don't like the one you bought, you can turn it off and go and get a different one and hope that it's going to work better. And of course, people are expensive. They're generally the biggest cost in any business. So I can understand the wish to go down that route, and it makes sense in terms of cost saving. But you've just touched on the fact that it's the knowledge piece to me that you're relying on something in a very interesting way compared to bringing in expertise and knowledge. And actually, something we'll go on to is you also run the risk of losing a huge amount of knowledge over time, which you won't be able to get back. So, yeah, I mean, the people piece, I guess, sits firmly with me in the fact that I can see the appeal of technology. It doesn't answer back. It turns up when you turn it on, generally. It doesn't have a hissy fit or have any issues that you as the owner have to and the founder have to deal with. So there's lots of appeals for taking a different route and hoping that technology will make your life a bit easier. But there's a real illusion and delusion in my head if people think that technology is going to replace people and replace skill and replace knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real risk for all founders to sit down and just take note of before they start becoming too reliant and too committed to this tech.
Yeah, no, exactly. And there's an example from a retainer that I was working. I was like the interim head of marketing for this business, and apart from many things in running their marketing, I created this email campaign. It was highly targeted, moved people through the journey. It wasn't going out to big numbers because it was highly targeted, but it was getting good results because I was sending emails. The way people that were responding to those emails and interacting with those emails triggered like a more targeted email to them, giving them the information that they wanted, and it was achieving like open rates on this emails of 90%, and it was achieving kind of like high interaction rates with the content of the email, high click-through rates. And we shouldn't get bogged down in open rates because it's a bit of a vanity metric, but it does indicate that the messaging that I was going out with was highly targeted to that audience and was really effective with that audience. So it was working really well. But then a few hours before I finished my contract, I got sent a copy of this conversation that the head of sales was having with ChatGTP, and it came out with one of the things that's just like the thing that's special about the audience is that they're time starved. Like, well, that's not special about any audience because everybody's time starved. So that one, like, I would definitely question that. And then it was kind of saying roughly what I was doing, but more unsegmented, more untargeted. It wasn't kind of taking people through a journey or like giving people information based on how they interacted with the last email. It was kind of very generic. And I was just looking at this, I was just like, okay, so what is it about the results that I'm bringing, that I'm giving you? I mean, you're ending up with very good qualified leads. What is it that's not sitting quite right? And I think a lot of the times, because it was a highly targeted campaign, because it was for a high ticket product, that's what scares like a lot of people, especially when it's head of sales. They want to see you talking to lots of people. So I don't know where that friction was, but what he sent me and the point of the conversation from ChatGTP was highly generic, and it wasn't targeted, and it didn't have any understanding of the target audience. It didn't have any understanding of how people make buyer decisions. It was just generic. Your audience is time starved, and you should just send them emails about this. And that's the danger. And the head of sales, he was brilliant at what he did. He was really good, and he was like a really nice guy. But he didn't quite have the marketing experience and the critical thinking to be able to prompt and critique what ChatGTP sent back. So it sounded great, it sounded polished, it sounded confident from ChatGTP, but it wasn't actually good for that business and getting the results they were looking for. So,
and it really does open up that risk, doesn't it? That's the thing. You're suddenly relying on something, and you just touched on that, sort of being able to critically analyze or check or test. If you don't have that knowledge or expertise, and then you rely on something at that stage as the founder, then you're really leaving yourself wide open risk. And I mean, certainly, both of us I know use AI, and I've got loads of examples of when I've been looking for something and it'll find, put something in my response that's pulled from somewhere else in the world that has no legal basis in the UK, but because it possibly was found on a UK site, because that's the way it's scraped its data, they think, oh, this must relate to the UK, so it fires it in there. And unless you know what you're talking about, you do leave yourself wide open to some serious risk in a business. And it doesn't, in some ways, it's this delusion again. I'm trying not to use that word too much, but it's people sort of are starting to cover up and hide problems within their business with AI. It doesn't actually solve anything. If you've got some problems, it's going to exacerbate them more than anything else.
Yeah, it's just going to cause chaos.
Yeah.
And I think as well, within startups, and I've come across this a couple of times, it's easy to turn to LLMs, the likes of ChatGPT, to try and understand what the ideal client profile is or what your messaging should be. But in a startup, that's very difficult to critique. So what you really need is an experienced marketer to come in and challenge the ICP, challenge the messaging, and see what's working, see what brings you results, and I drill in and identify what that ICP is, because LLMs can't tell you what that is. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think this feeds into our whole series, really, is this, early stage businesses don't tend to have lots of structure. And it's not that we're here to create ridiculously, stupidly, unnecessarily structured businesses, but that whole sense of knowing what the plan is and knowing what they're doing. If you don't have those bits of your plan in place, then this is where the sort of execution of AI without having a real clear purpose is going to cause you so many issues and get things very horribly wrong for you very quickly and in a very costly manner.
Yeah, it can create more noise rather than actual progress.
And from your sort of knowledge and experience and mine, where do you start to see where things show themselves as going wrong from an over-reliance on AI? What sort of things should people look out for if they're heading down this path where actually it's not going according to plan?
I think one of the biggest things is recognizing when you don't know enough about the subject that you're trying to get AI to fill. If you don't know enough about it, then you need to bring in external help, because if AI is executing without proper clear directions, then it's just going to create more noise. The business isn't going to go anywhere. If you don't have clear messaging, if the messaging that you're going out with isn't working for the audience you're targeting, it's going to create a weak position for you in the marketplace, and it's not going to progress your business. You're not going to see growth. So I think that if we take marketing example, for example, if founders are using AI to market their product and within 3 months they're not really seeing any results, then they know that AI has sent them down the wrong path. But by the time they get 3 months down that path and they think, oh well, nothing's really happening, it's cost them a lot of money. It's cost them. It's not just the 3 months that they've missed. Okay, they've not spent any money on AI, but how much money have they lost because their messaging has been poor, and they've not attracted the clients that they wanted to attract. So, there's that loss of revenue, and in the meantime, your competitors have gone on, and they're having a field day because you're not. So it's about kind of like understanding that.
And it's weird because I was thinking now this is nothing new. What we were talking about before we came on air was the fact that, we've been through countless examples as a species where there's been an absolute step change in technology. So whether it's the Industrial Revolution, whether it's the introduction of computers, whether it's the internet, whatever it may be, we've gone through these step changes loads of times before. So it's funny, you just popped into my head that this is a classic case of a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So if you don't have the knowledge, which is what an ancient phrase that goes back probably hundreds of years, but if you don't have that knowledge, but you're then relying on something else to produce something in that knowledge space, how are you going to check that it's accurate? And then it's too late when you've missed the boat and you're miles behind your competitors. So all of a sudden you're playing catch up. It's the same in obviously in my area. So if someone's using AI to give them solutions to complicated employment relations things, which are obviously where your business is at risk of litigation and cost. And if you rely on that and then decide to use that tool set to go to defend your position, you're just going to get into an absolute nightmare of a mess, and you won't be able to escape from it because the law is very strict. So if you're in a legal situation and you're relying on AI to do the work and you don't know what you're doing, you will get into a horribly expensive, complicated mess.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I guess this is that whole thing of it's the magic sort of potion, isn't it? That everyone thinks it's going to fix everything for us because it's wonderful. It's we're being sold the dream by the tech firms for a strange. It's no wonder the world's run by extremely wealthy tech billionaires, maybe with missing a trick here that they're very good at positioning nirvana for us and we fall for it every time. But and I don't mean to poo-poo the fact that it's a valuable tool that we should all use, but it's this whole sense of getting it right rather than just diving into what seems to be this wonderful solution. It doesn't fix problems within your business, and it doesn't create a plan for you. It doesn't create a strategy for you. It doesn't provide the expertise you need. It's a good tool that churning through lots of donkey work for you as long as you know what you're looking for.
Yeah And it's like what I touched on before, it doesn't, and we're talking about it doesn't replace people, because the LLMs, they don't understand context, they don't understand nuance, they can't replace human experience, because it's the experience within the business. And also the over-reliance of AI within a business can cost the business knowledge, because everybody within that organization is just working from the knowledge that AI has. So it kind of, you lose the knowledge about historical data, historical client data, you lose the knowledge of the experience that customer services had with particular clients, and various different things that have come up over the years. You kind of lose that when everybody's just talking in the same way, because they're constantly using AI. It kind of ends up sounding not robotic, but just all the same.
Yeah, and I mean, we were touching on it earlier that you and I, the work we do is hugely based on experience and knowledge. The point of these sessions are to share our experiences, to help people hopefully not make easy mistakes and to help them get it right earlier. If you think of AI being a potential tool, which it definitely is, as replacing early stage jobs, a lot of businesses and big businesses are not recruiting as many people at the early entry level into their businesses. And AI, what happens in 10 years when all of that real fundamental knowledge of doing the boring stuff that means you understand why that bit of the process fits with that bit of the process, which then leads to this action that leads to us delivering this product, we lose all of that. And all of a sudden in 10, 15 years time, the knowledge is gone. So you're actually you're also building an awful lot of problems ahead. Now, of course, people will argue, well, the technology will solve that for us, but the technology at the moment is not a thinking, sentient, feeling technology. It's a very clever data scraping tool that can interpret data and present it in the way it thinks you want it to be presented. But it doesn't have that nuance and skill that a human being does in terms of understanding situations, emotions, subtleties, and all of the things that we need that makes the difference. So it's a real fascinating space to be in at the moment in that regard.
Yeah.
And it, go on, sorry.
And I was going to say, and companies need to be quite careful how to use it. I mean, I am a big AI advocate. I mean, I use AI, but we've got a smart door lock on our front door, and I bought it about four years ago. We have replaced it once because it did break once, but it broke last week. And I went onto the company's website, and there was a live chat, and it was a live chat dressed up as you were talking to a human person, because like you open the live chat, it's like, hi Adrian, I can't remember what that was his name, but Adrian's joined this conversation. And I explained the situation. I mean, we can't get out of our house. The smart lock's broken. We can't get out of the house. I explained the situation. I told them that it was like four years old, and like this was the technology that it uses, and it was in complete denial that it ever made that door lock.
Oh, wow.
Complete denial. It's like, no, we use this technology, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, but no, you did. To the point where I was actually questioning where I bought that door lock from. And I knew by that point that I was talking to AI, because the responses were coming back far too quickly, and it was just in denial that it ever made that lock. Now a human person would have been on the other end and just like, oh, hang on, let me just ask somebody, and they might have gone away to look. But no, this was in complete denial. And then when I was getting frustrated because we couldn't get out of our house, I then asked to talk to customer service, and it gave me the wrong telephone number, so I even got pointed in the wrong direction. And yeah, so it was a very frustrating AI chat that was dressed up to be human. So the chat caused frustration, and then I was getting even more frustrated because they led me to believe I was talking to a human.
Well, and that, I mean, there's so many issues there. The loss of knowledge that they made a product in the first place, which would be, I'm sure there's a legal issue for them there anyway, within statute of limitations and whether they cause an accident somewhere. But that whole frustration as well. I mean, yes, you get frustrated dealing with a person in customer services. It can be an extremely difficult job and an extremely frustrating situation. But also when you're dealing with an AI bot, you've got nowhere to go.
No.
Wow. I mean, it's funny because I mentioned to you earlier, it's not a business related anecdote, but the whole point of this is we rely on this technology, and it often is hugely flawed. It's incredibly clever. I use AI. It's an amazing tool to use, but you still have to be very careful with the knowledge and the information it's giving you. So I went to a gig a month or two ago, and on a Saturday morning I was up early because I needed to take the dog for a walk. I just thought I'll have a quick look at the reviews and see what people thought of the gig, and there was nothing printed or published other than an AI review. So I thought, I'll have a look at the AI review, which was on Google's AI. So it had produced this review of the gig and told me that this band had played all the songs they'd played, and they didn't play a single song that was listed in the review, not one of them. And you thought, wow, this is just decided, this is the sort of stuff they play regularly. So we'll just tell you this is what they played because that's what they always play. And they genuinely did not play one song. It was an album launch and a new album launch, and they didn't play any old material at all. So I was thinking, okay, so you're trusting this to do your work for you, and it makes lots and lots of mistakes. So I guess from our positive point of view, and we aren't here to slate AI in the slightest. It's a phenomenal technology, and it is absolutely transforming the world very, very quickly. But how do founders really make sure they're in the right place to use it? What are the things that people should look out for to know whether they're either in the right or the wrong place, do you think, Annique?
I think, I mean, to understand that AI isn't a solution on its own. I mean, like
Okay.
my live chat example, AI is great to answer questions from customers on websites and to get those through quickly and to relieve stress on customer services. It's a really good tool for that. But the way it's set up, company needs to set up that at some point it needs to like be able to trigger, okay, do you want to talk to an agent? So there needs to be some kind, the way it's set up, because humans are needed at some point. So it's kind of, I think the key points is, as we've been talking about throughout this series, is having clarity. Having clarity on the business, having clarity on your business goals, like having clarity on, you know, where you want your business to grow. So getting the clarity around all that before looking at the capability. And then when you're looking at the capability, understanding what you need and what AI should support. Because I think it's looking at AI as a supporting tool rather than a replacement tool. And that kind of leads into strategy before execution. So knowing your strategy, right? Knowing your business plan, knowing your marketing strategy. And it's not for founders to know the marketing strategy necessarily, unless they're good at marketing. But getting the person experienced in to know the strategy before the execution, and then having like AIs to support the execution. And it's all about, again, what we talk about a lot. It's all about defining roles and expectations and like understanding the decision making process. It's basically about building the proper foundations of the business before you want to layer AI on top of it. I think.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. It's that the repeating message, clarity, absolutely. That real understanding of having clear goals, clear expectations, clear priorities. What are you trying to do in your business? What are you looking to achieve? And then working out what the AI can do to help that. I saw something. There was one of my clients posted something the other day, and they're a creative business, and it was a really good piece because it was basically saying, you know, before everyone goes, AI is killing creativity, it's going to steal everyone's work in the creative space. And he was just saying, you know, when I started, this is how we used to do things, and it's, you know, it doesn't kill creativity. It isn't creative. It's a tool. It actually frees you up to be more creative, because AI can't be creative. That's not what it's there to do. It doesn't have that range of emotion and nuance and subtlety that human beings do have. So yeah, I guess the other thing in terms of the counter to what you need to do is make sure as a business owner you don't fall into the trap of thinking AI is going to create my strategy or my solution for me, because that's absolutely not what it's going to do. It might give you an answer, but it isn't going to give you what you need.
Yeah, no, it'll give you an answer that looks good on the surface. But then actually just ends up driving more uncertainty and going forward. But I think a business will know when it's kind of like ready to use AI effectively when they understand their business goals, when they've got clear priorities, when, you know, they've defined their messaging and positioning, whether it's they themselves or whether it's them with like a specialist, and when they've got clear structure and workflows and ownership, when they know all that, when they have the foundations, when it's solid, they know that it's ready. If they're just wanting AI to figure it out for them, they're not ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess in some ways, it's not, I don't mean to be rude, but it's a lazy option, isn't it, for some people, just to think, oh, we've now got this, it'll fix everything for me. Whereas, it's not how it works. It's
yeah, and it's
requires effort.
Yeah, it's really easy as well. You're time starved, that you're juggling like 1,000 things at once. It's really easy to think, oh my God, I really don't have time for that. I'll just ask ChatGPT. That's it. It's such an easy thing to do, and it's a habit that you can get into nowadays. So I think that's another thing.
Yeah, and I think as we sort of touched on earlier, it will accentuate the problems you have in your business. It actually does the opposite, complete opposite to fixing them. If you actually have got issues, and in some ways, I guess that could be a strangely positive negative, in the fact that it will highlight issues in your business very quickly for you. If you haven't got things right and you rely on AI, then it will bring to your attention very quickly that actually you've got some serious issues that you need to address, and maybe it provides a good wake-up call for you. But if you think it's going to fix the problems for you and then rely on it to fix the problems for you, you're going to get into a very costly and time-consuming mess.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good thought to end on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us and listening to our conversation. I hope this has given you a little bit of insight and opened up a few questions for you. If it has opened up a few questions for you, please contact either Anthony or myself. We'll be more than happy to answer them for you. And we will be back in a couple of weeks with the last episode in the series of founder conversations, and it will all be about scaling teams without breaking them. That's been
fabulous. Well, absolutely. Well, thank you all very much indeed. Enjoy the sunshine, and hope you found it useful. We'll see you very soon.
See you soon.